Life is strange. Sometimes, in the crowd of the whole world, a moment suddenly comes from nowhere and lights a lamp in the heart, and this moment landed on a cold windy day in a small diner on the edge of Central State Park in New York. Outside, a cold wind was blowing. People were coming in, wrapped in coats, shivering. When the door opened again and again, the wind like snow would come in, and the same crowd, a small, thin boy stood by the door, age maybe 11 or 12 years old, a torn bag in his hand, a broken zipper on his jacket, and shoes with the front part of it torn, but the real sadness was in his eyes that did not seem to belong to children, but to those who were fighting for life. His name was Elias. He hesitated as he stepped into the diner, as if he was not sure if he even had the right to come in. His breathing was rapid, perhaps after walking for a long time, was looking for a place to sit, but most of the tables were filled with people waving their hands as if there was no room, or maybe they didn't want to see him. Then he stopped at a table where a woman named Morgan was sitting, a single mother, who was having lunch with her 8-year-old son, Kellen. Kellen looked at Elias, and immediately pulled her mother's sleeve and said softly, "Mom, can he sit? Please?" Morgan looked at Elias, his shaking hands, tired feet, and fear in his eyes. Elias asked softly, "Can I sit here, just for a minute?" That's the power of kindness, changing hearts in an instant. Morgan pulled the chair forward. Elias slumped over as he sat down, exhausted. If the chair had taken all his weight, Morgan saw that his fingers were turning blue. The jacket was soaked in the rain, and his face was as tired as if he hadn't slept well for days. After a moment of silence, he said, "My mother works 3 jobs. I walked from school. But today my shoe broke. I couldn't stop." There was a weariness in his voice that shouldn't be in the voices of children. Morgan bowed her head. She too had struggled like that at one time. She understood the pain. She placed the hot soup and sandwich in front of Elias. The boy didn't immediately raise his hand. He lowered his eyes and said, "I don't have any money." Morgan smiled and said, "Good thing I didn't ask for any." And as if a burden had melted in the air, for the first time, light appeared in Elias' eyes. He ate his food slowly, as if afraid that this might all be a dream. Kellen started talking to her about his school, about his favorite games, and about the little dragon sticker on that torn backpack. Elias's smile deepened. The loneliness slowly faded from his face. After the meal was over, Elias said softly, "I'm scared to go home. Mom will be so worried why I stayed so long." Morgan knew the pain, her own son. Kellen had seen days like these, when she had walked out of an unhealthy marriage, and life was starting from scratch. She said immediately, "Come on, I'll drop you off." Elias fell silent. If he couldn't believe that the world wasn't really that hard. When she reached to drop him off, a tired, weak, but loving woman came out of the door of a small apartment, Elias's mother. She cried in panic when she saw Elias safe and sound. She held Morgan's hand and thanked him repeatedly. Elias suddenly turned to her, and silently her tears began to flow. These were not tears of sadness. They were tears that lighten the burden of the heart. "When someone sees you," Morgan placed her hand on his head and said, "Kindness is alive in the world. It's just that sometimes people like us remind us of it." If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share and subscribe. We want to know which moment in the story touched your heart. Every comment gives us the courage to bring more such hopeful stories.